Coming up next on the Conscious Courage podcast.
I believe that Black home ownership is crucial because if we're talking about building wealth, we have to understand that building wealth, you have to have assets. And one of the assets that wealthy people have is real estate. Okay. And when we're talking about bridging the wealth gap, what does bridging the wealth gap even mean? We have to acknowledge that there is a wealth gap. That means that when you're looking at the Black community and you're looking at other cultural community or other ethnic races,
Yes.
where we are financially is not where they are financially, right? What our average income is not what their average income is. And we have to just go all the way back to 1968, where the Fair Housing Act really was initiated, right? Or it was formed. And the Fair Housing Act, why did we even have that? Well, there was a time that Black people, they weren't getting banks by the loan.
Good morning. Welcome to the Conscious Courage podcast and sing it with me. Happy Motivational Monday. I am your host, Davone'a Tashae. I meet with you all every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to provide practical steps toward our inner healing journey, or what I've coined internal glow up. Whether you're here as a first-time listener or returning, thank you for tuning in. The team and I are grateful to every subscriber via YouTube and every listener via Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. With a special shout out to all of our IGU babes keeping up with us on social media on all platforms at CC Podcast with DT. Y'all are locked in and we are too hyped to have you here, all right? Now, ensure to listen on through so you can receive those practical steps as well as any announcements that we may have. Let's dive on into today's episode. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conscious Courage podcast. Today we have the honor of hosting Miss Black Florida USA 2024, Stefani Morales, whose story of resilience and empowerment is truly inspiring, y'all. Stefani is a first-generation American with Haitian roots. Her family migrated to Miami in the 1970s, and Stefani quickly became the family interpreter, navigating the challenges of being a Black immigrant in America. She was one of the first in her family to graduate high school, earn a college degree, and even attend graduate school. And she graduated, all right? At 19, Stefani became a mother and married her high school sweetheart at 20. After their divorce, she faced significant financial challenges, especially as a single parent of two, including a son with visual and learning disabilities. Despite earning a business degree, Stefani struggled with money management until she found her footing in the financial services industry. Stefani took control over her finances, y'all. She obtained multiple financial licenses and ventured into real estate with Experience Realty. She now mentors other agents and explores diverse income opportunities. In December 2022, she fulfilled a lifelong dream by enlisting in the Air Force Reserve, y'all, gaining access to valuable resources like our VA loans and educational benefits. As Miss Black Florida USA 2024, Stefani's platform, Bridging the Wealth Gap, focuses on empowering individuals through financial literacy and education, promoting home ownership, and raising awareness to reduce economic inequalities. Her ultimate goal is to attend law school and specialize in tax and estate planning, real estate law, and business formation. According to recent data, before we get into this interview, Black home ownership in the U.S. is significantly lower than the national average, and many Black households lack emergency savings. Stefani's efforts aim to address these disparities and build financial confidence within the community. When not advocating for financial stability and equality, she enjoys time with her family, dancing at the ballroom studio, singing karaoke, or soaking up the Miami Beach lifestyle. Stefani, welcome to the Conscious Courage podcast. I are honored to have you with us today. Let's dive into your inspiring journey and discuss how we all can work towards bridging this wealth gap. So thank you. Welcome. Woo!
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So happy.
I'm grateful that you're here. So how was that introduction? I always like to ask, how the introduction?
That was an Uncle Shay Shay kind of introduction. So thank you so much. That's
Yes.
a great, wonderful introduction. And I think it gives a lot of background of who I am, where I came from, for why I am doing what I'm doing today. So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you for your willingness to be on here as well as sharing that background. Everyone isn't always transparent. So thank you for your transparency.
Absolutely. That's the only way we can truly bridge the wealth gap is we have to be transparent about where we are, why we are where we are. We have to understand where we came from, and then we have to go ahead and figure out how we can get to where we're ultimately trying to go.
Amen. Now, I'm just going to say this before I dive into these questions. So, you and I met around 2023, and there's been some time. I've moved. You are growing in your successes and adventures and everything that you have going on. And we did a quick recap. I'm going to call it quick, y'all, using air quotes, because it was 4-hour long conversation. I don't even talk on the phone like that. It was so juicy, so good. I'm no longer American. I am Haitian, but that's a story for another time. And so I'm grateful. This here would not take 4 hours, y'all. But if it did, y'all would literally tune in with your popcorn and like not want it to end, because she's just a wealth of information, knowledge, experience, and beautiful on the inside as well as out.
Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to get that out there because that just cracked me up. I said, we're really on this phone for 4 hours.
Okay. I gave you all my Sunday afternoon, honey.
You did. Okay. So, why do you believe Black home ownership is crucial for personal and community empowerment? And also, can you share any personal stories or experiences that highlight the importance of home ownership?
Well, okay, this is called redlining. The banks, if they knew you were Black, they weren't going to give you a loan to buy a house. What is blockbusting? Well, when the realtors would go out and they would help people buy a home, if you were Black, they would say, oh, you're going to be in this area. Oh, no, we're not going to move to that area if you're white because all the Black people are there. When we came over here and we had white people and Black people were slaves at one time. We were the assets. Mm-hmm. Hello, we were the assets. And again, when we're talking about real estate and we're talking about assets, the more assets you have, the more wealthy you can be. At one point in time, the more Black slaves you had, that dictated how much wealth you had. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So we were the same as real estate. Wow. So if you're looking at now we are allowed to buy homes because we are no longer slaves anymore. We are the person, the human being of us being Black is no longer the asset anymore. Mm-hmm. Now we are allowed to obtain asset. You got to play the way everybody else is playing. And the way they're playing is through the stock market and real estate.
Talk your talk.
You have to own a home, because if you don't own a home, now let's look at other things you could do with owning a home. You can leverage the debt of you owning that home to do other things. You can take out credit on your home. You know how many people have children that they take into college and they have to get a student loan, where there are other people who take money out on their house and send their kids off to college. But if you don't have a house to do that, if you don't own the house to do that, you can't take out the money. You know how many people take out a home to buy another home, to build wealth, because homes can make money. You buy a multifamily. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why it's so important that if we're going to bridge the wealth gap, we have to get that one piece of asset that can take you quickly to a point of wealth. And that's real estate. That's real estate.
Yes, it is. I love it. I'm reading a book right now called The Color. Oh, what do you say?
I said that was such a long-winded answer, but it just had so many different. There's a lot of education that comes with some of this stuff. And I believe that one of the reasons as a Black community we are where we are is because there's a lot of things we just don't know as well. There's a lot of things that they're not teaching us. There's a lot of information we're not getting because it's not our subject matter. It's not the category of studies that we're learning. So there's so many things, like how many people know about redlining and blockbusting? I didn't know that until I became a realtor. I learned that in real estate school I would have never known that there was a thing called redlining and blockbusting. That's not something that they even teach in school. You understand what I'm saying? I would have never known about the stock market because Black people, we have this fear with the stock market. I'm Haitian. My family came from Haiti. So when we talk about the stock market in our household, oh, that's for white people and crazy white people, or that's for people with money. That these are the things that you're taught when you're little. The relationship that you have with money when you don't grow up wealthy, it's a very toxic relationship because you're taught that, oh, you don't do stock market. That's for the crazy white people. Or that's for the, we don't do that. We're not going to just throw our money away. We're taught that when you put your money in the stock market, your money's being thrown away. We're just taught to buy the house. We're not taught how the house can make us make money. We're taught to work for money. We are not taught to make the money work for us. So really pimping us when you really look at it, when we should be the pimps of the money. And we got to pimp in a good way. Okay. Let's just put it there.
Meaning that the money should be working for us and not us working for the money. That y'all, that's what she's talking about. Okay.
Correct. Because I got my pastors watching me, and I don't want them to think I'm out here pimping people, and I'm not.
No, we are not doing that
in a good way. I promise.
No, that was amazingly great, full of information, and I'm like, we can stop right there and just pull that apart, and that would be the whole conversation because it's juicy, it's good. What I wanted to share is, and I have to add it into the description, is there's a book called The Color of Law, and it goes into what you're talking about from redlining to blockbusting. I'm reading it right now in preparation for a discussion that I'll have in October all about real estate. So if you want to come back, you're welcome.
Yes, I'm coming back, and hopefully I'm coming back as Miss Black USA.
Yes. Okay. And that's what we're here to talk about. But that book is good, y'all. I'll put it in the description. It's so insightful. And listen, you have to read it and check your spirit so that you don't become angry. All right. Now, going on into some resources. So what are some resources out there for first-time home buyers, especially those within the Black community? And are there any specific programs or resources that you recommend as an aspiring Black homeowners?
Yes, for sure. There's different things that we can do, and I'm going to talk about each one because I think it's important. This is not about if you're Black or white. This is just resources that are available that I believe that many Black people do not know about, right? One of the resources is you are on Section 8, okay? If you are on a housing voucher and you receive Section 8, meaning the government, they pay a subsidy, they pay part of your rent, you can purchase a home through the NACA program. Okay, Section 8, if you are on Section 8, will allow you to purchase the home, and the money that you would have got through the subsidy of your voucher, you can now use that to pay towards your mortgage.
Perfect.
All right. NACA is also a good program that even if you're not on Section 8, you can still use NACA. And NACA will allow you they'll come in and they'll help you with your credit. They'll help you with your budgeting, because here's the thing. The reality is, just because you want to buy the house doesn't mean you're in the position to buy the house, doesn't mean you are financially mature enough to afford keep paying that house. Sometimes we have bad credit. The reason we might have bad credit, we don't pay our bills on time. We're not paying our bills at all. We have too many bills. We're overspending. So what NACA will do is they will come in and they will work with you. Even if they worked with you for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 1 year, 6 months, they will work with you until you are in a position to buy the house. They will help you with your credit. They will help you with your budget. They will help you pay off debt. They will literally do everything that we are lacking because we may not have a financial planner in our household, because that was not a conversation in the Black community to have somebody come in and take care of our finances, because typically a financial planner, it comes with when you make a certain kind of money. And we already acknowledged that the Black families are not traditionally, historically making this kind of money to where a financial planner is necessary. But the thing is that I enjoy being a financial planner to the family or the household that makes less than $100,000, because how can we get there if we're waiting to get there, but we don't know how to get there? So if we're saying, well, you got to get to 100,000 before you could see me, I may never get there. I may never get there because I'm not even having a conversation with somebody. So I talk to families. I don't mind talking to a family saying, hey, you guys make 75,000. Why are we making 75,000 a year? What can we do to make at least 100,000? Might need a new career. And I tell people straight up, that bachelor's you're sitting on teaching at the high school, making 47,000 a year, go give yourself 2 years in college and go get an MBA. Go get a master's in mathematics. I have a girlfriend, she's a mathematics teacher. And I was like, look, baby, you want to buy a house, but you can't afford to buy a house because on a teacher's salary, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Why are you sitting on a mathematics major and you are working as a teacher? That's great. It's moral. I guess it's a good thing for the world, but your world right now is you and your son. So let's go into an MBA. Let's go into some masters. So right now she's working on a master's in data science. Okay. And she's about to finish and she'll be able to get a job as an actuary. She'll be able to get a job running numbers. Do you know how many people are looking for mathematicians? A mathematician is a hidden figure. All right. A mathematician is a hidden figure. That is a 6-figure job minimum. And so now she spent just a year and a half extra of her life, because the time will pass. Unless you die, a year and a half will come. Unless you die, it's gonna come. The question is, where will you be when that year to 2 years comes? Right. So now she is filling out jobs with the federal government.
Good.
With her mathematics degree, with her data scientist degree, and she was looking at the pay table, and she was at 110,000 a year. So you 47,000 to 110,000 just because you spent an extra year and a half to do what you already know how to do. So as we're working on it, I'm like, all right, so let's pay off this debt. You need to be tutoring. So she knows how to tutor. I say, you need to be charging. Stop helping people for free. We have this complex of super saver something. I ain't going to say what I got to say, but we got a super saver complex. Okay. Well, look at God.
I was like, wait a minute.
It almost slipped out. Okay. But I got to keep it real. We have this complex and we want to save everybody, and we're not saving ourselves first. And when you're on that airplane, the airplane people tell you, the pilot, the nice little students, they say put your own oxygen mask on first. We have to stop saving other people prior to us saving ourselves.
Yes.
So now I said, okay, instead of helping do all these math things for free, put money on it. So she would make extra money. She did extra stuff. She was paying down debt. In the meantime, in that year to year and a half, she was working on her master's.
Good.
The same way I was working on my master's. And she's about to graduate. And when she gets this new job, guess what? Her amount of income that she's producing to the lender for the house is now more, because when you make 120,000, you get more house money than when you make 47,000.
More borrowing power, y'all.
Okay. That's more borrowing power, more house money. I gotta say that in terms. You get more money for the house. Okay.
Yes.
So that's another resource. Education is a resource that you can use to purchase a house, because a lot of us, we're not able to qualify for the house. Now, watch this. If you're going to get the education to buy this house, we got to stop overspending on the education and getting underpaid with the money that we're getting in the job that we get.
Cannot listen. Something that you shared during our 4-hour deliverance call.
Correct.
The statistics. Okay. Can you please bring that up with the statistics? The social studies. Bring it to the people.
The statistics, when we're looking at
I'm getting comfortable.
It costs a Black person about $66,000 more to go to school. That means if the school costs $50,000 for the 4-year program, a Black person will ultimately end up paying $66,000 in addition to the $50,000, just because we are coming from a place where we may not have the money to go to school. So we have to take out more student loans. All right. A Black student will end up working a job while attending college more than their white and Latin and Asian and Indian and everybody else in the world have to do. Okay. That's something we need to understand. When we're looking at these masters and these doctoral degrees, all right, out of 37 million people in America that have a master's or higher, master's, doctoral, only 9 million of those people are Black. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
And so there's also a study that shows that Black students tend to go into majors like social services, psychology, criminal justice, teaching, the degrees that don't pay no money.
So tell them why. Tell them why.
Because this is what we are taught when we're going to college. Remember, a lot of us, we don't have the family members that went to college before to tell us these things. We're pushing our children to play sports as kids. We're pushing our sons to play football, basketball. We have them in Pee-wee football at 4 years old, 5 years old. And when they are in school and they are having reading issues, they're kind of just pushed along. We're not spending the money on tutoring. We're not using resources like Mathnasium. Why? Because it's $400 a month. I know, because I pay that for my 15-year-old Black son. I invest. Okay. See, he has not been in sports this year. He's been in sports all his life. He has not been in sports this year because I need to take the sports money real quick and I need to push it into the areas of STEM.
Yes.
Science, technology, engineering, and math. When you look at the Asian students, they don't have a criminal justice degree. I never met an Asian classmate. When I asked them, what is your major of study? They ain't never told me criminal justice, never told me nothing about nobody's psychology, never told me they're going to be a teacher. They may have said a professor. I may have met an Asian professor, but I never met an Asian teacher. That was Asian. Maybe they was Blackanese. Maybe they were Black and Asian and, they was like Trini Jamaican or something like that. But they were never just Asian and a teacher making 40,000 a year. It just don't work like that. I never met an Indian that their degree really was criminal justice. And don't come tell me, oh, well, I know this one person. Okay, that's an outlier situation. I'm talking about the mass, the general population. I promise you, if you go take 100 Asian students and you line them up and say, what is your degree? What are you going to be when you grow up? You're going to find more that say a doctor, somebody who deal with robots, an engineer. Like, they're not going to say criminal justice. So when you are getting a degree and you're going to these colleges, you're already spending $60,000 more, right? You're going now, let's say the college costs you $50,000, you at $106,000 or something like that, right? For you to come back and get a job that only pay you $50,000 a year, make the money make sense. The math not mathing.
Right.
It's not mathing. So now when you go try to buy a house, you cannot. Why? Because now they're looking at your debt to income ratio. Your debt is up here at 106,000 plus whatever other debt you have.
Right. A little over 100.
Salary is here at 57,000. You're not going to get nobody's house. You're going to be renting. Meanwhile, white people, Asian people, Indian, they went to school and they have the debt of 106,000, but guess what their major is? Medicine. So they're a doctor. So they're going to graduate and their income is 250,000. You see how so the mortgage company, they're going to give them a loan. Did you know doctors automatically qualify for a loan?
I did not know that.
It does not matter. Listen, there's a loan out there for doctors. If you want to talk about a resource, there goes another resource. Black people, go be a doctor.
Yeah.
Automatically get qualified for a loan. It doesn't matter how much debt you are in for medical school.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a good resource. You see what
That's
I'm
a
saying?
great resource.
That's
Yeah.
a great resource. You could be in debt $500,000. You will automatically get qualified for a loan to buy a house. This is just
Mm.
perks of being a medical doctor. So if you're being pushed to do medicine, do it, because at least you know it doesn't matter about the debt income ratio at that point. Another resource that I would love to share with the Black community to purchase a home is the VA loan. Now, I'm not telling you to go join the military so you could get the VA loan, but I'm not going to also say it's not going to help and it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
It's not going to hurt. I did it. I'm 38 years old today, and I was playing in them today on my birthday. Like,
oh, I was like, wait, I didn't know today was your birthday.
Today, my birthday is in February. Today, I'm 38 years old, and my 37-year-old niece were in basic training last year, because I went off to basic training August 29th, 2023 at 37 years old. My 37-year-old knees and back really went and was hut 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Column left, harch.
Mm-hmm.
And I did this because I understood the VA loan. It's 100% financing towards your purchase of a house. I don't know where it gets better than that. Do you understand? Because now think about it. If I'm purchasing a home and I get 100% financing, I just saved myself 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 liquid cash that I would have to come up with. Do you know how many people they saved $40,000 just to have to use $40,000 to give away to the bank when they go buy their home? And then they buy the home and then they're house poor. Then they can't fix up the stuff in their house. They don't have no furniture in the house. They don't have nothing in the house. They don't have no emergent savings in the house. Nothing is in the house because they used up all their money. They used up all their liquid cash.
Yes.
How would it be for, just think about it. How would it be for a Black family that saved up $50,000 to be able to go use the VA loan, purchase the home, and still have their $50,000? Maybe they spent $10,000 because they have to, you got to pay for the points and you got to pay closing costs.
Right.
But I'd rather any family, Black, white, Hispanic, or Asian, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to the Black people because I want us to resonate with each other. I look like you. I'm talking like you. I'm code switching like you have to do. I'm doing everything for the Black experience right now. And so I want you to hear me. I would rather you spend $10,000 on a house than $50,000. Now, imagine if you use that same VA loan to buy a multifamily, to buy a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, because you can use that resource. That was the question, right? What resource does a Black family have? This is all resources. You can use that VA loan to now purchase the duplex, the triplex, or the fourplex, because those are all called residential homes. You can get up to 4 units and still be considered residential, right?
Very true.
Now you're living in one side and you're renting out the other side. You now have a cash producing cow.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying here?
I understand. Okay. You talking real estate. I talk real estate. I have real estate properties. You know what I'm saying? So I'm tracking, but I hope the people listening gonna pick up.
They're listening too, because this is real resources. Another resource. So we talked about, if you're on Section 8, you can go through NACA. We talked about NACA in itself. We talked about education being a resource and going into fields that pay more money, period. Yes. We talk about the VA loan. So, you can do the reserves. You don't even have to go active. You can go reserve, and after 6 years of being a reservist, after your first contract is done, you'll qualify. Or while you're a reserve, you can do like what I did and went active duty for 90 days. And as long as you went for 90 days, you're going to qualify. Correct. Yeah. Another resource is that they have first-time home buyer programs, and you just have to check your city or check your state. So I know for the state of Florida, for example, right now, if you are considered a hometown hero, All right. And I'm representing Florida, so I got to say it. If you
Yeah.
are a hometown hero, you will get up to 5%, not to exceed $35,000 of money going towards your purchase.
Amen.
Okay. And hometown heroes, what are they? That's the people who were considered essential workers during COVID-19. So if you are a teacher, a doctor, a fireman, a military, if you are a police
Law
officer,
enforcement.
law
Yep.
enforcement, teachers, anybody who they considered an essential worker during COVID, our governor, Ron DeSantis, okay, he has given out hometown heroes and it's back. And all you need is a 640 credit score and you can qualify. So let's think of it like this. Let's say you are military, you're also a hometown hero, so you don't have to pay for the down payment. You can use the hometown hero to pay your closing costs.
Hello.
Hello. You just walked in with no money down. Let's say you're a realtor and you're also an essential worker. You have your commission from the real estate and you have the hometown hero. Let's add on if you're military. That's 3. So for me, I get hometown hero, I get VA loan, and I get a real estate commission.
Yeah.
I'm going to get paid to buy my next property. Okay?
Y'all hear that? I hope y'all listening. Okay.
I'm going to get paid to buy my property.
Okay.
Let me backtrack. This will be my first property because we had something else, but this will be my property. And I waited when everybody was rushing. See, sometimes people try to rush. They try to rush. Everybody's doing something.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. God told me to wait. He said, wait. He said, wait. I said, God, but everybody's buying. He said, wait. Now, when you're purchasing this property, Stefani, you're going to get the VA, you'll get the hometown hero, and you'll get money back to purchase the house.
Look at that.
Right? And I just had to wait.
Look at that.
You just got to be patient. That's another resource. Patience.
That's good.
Patience is a resource because this era that we live in with social media, it'll make you move quicker than what you're supposed to. And move out of turn. And we gotta be aware of not moving out of turn and moving when it's our time so that it can be right, so that it can be blessed, because all of God's blessings, they come with no sorrow, right?
Yes.
So sometimes you buying the house because you're trying to keep up with the Jones and you see this person bought that person, you trying to look good and you bought it out of time and now you can't keep the house. Now you got a foreclosure.
Talk to him.
Because God didn't tell you to do that. God didn't tell you to move. You did it because you did it. You didn't do it under his direction and under his guidance. So now you got the people coming to get your house.
Lean into your own understanding.
The house, now that the roof falling apart, the people not paying the bills, you don't use the $50,000 cash you had because you didn't wait. Whereas you could have went into that house, had 40,000. Now the roof coming down, but you got money to fix the roof because you're not house poor. You see what I'm saying? So those are some resources that you can 100% use. I think another thing that you can do to buy a house that people are not taking advantage of is you could do a lease to buy. I think we forget about that. So you can essentially rent out the house and talk to the owner. Some owners, they know they want to buy. I mean, they know they want to sell, but they're not ready to sell today. But they know they're going to sell. And they may be ready to sell in a year or in 2 years because maybe, for example, you have military people here that they're on a base and in 3 years they're leaving. So they just bought the house because it's cheaper to buy, right? So they bought the house and they know they're going to sell it when they go to their next station. So if you find something like that, and I only know this now because I'm military, y'all, so I'm giving you some new tea. I'm giving you new information. Find a military family that's only stationed for 2-3 years. We as military people, we know how long we're going to be there. And you can tell them, hey, listen, I really want to buy, because let's say they have a duplex. Say, hey, listen, I want to buy this, so I'll rent it out from you now so I can have time to get myself together, and then I can buy it from you when you leave.
Okay.
Or Or you just find somebody who's retirees are like this too, maybe people who are going to be empty nesters. You know what I'm saying? You can, if you're in a school, for example, and there's going to be people who are in high school, they're going to graduate in 2 years, a year. The family, when the last child leaves, they want to move and they want to downsize. A lot of people who are going to be empty nesters, they want to downsize. So you can let them know, hey, listen, I'd be interested in renting out your house when you leave. And maybe they're not ready to sell right then at that time, but I would be ready to buy in 2 years. And some people are like, you know what? We can work that out. So the money that you're paying towards the rent, it's like money you're paying towards purchasing that home.
Yes. So good. So good.
Yeah.
Y'all, and that's only the first half of our questions. But what were you about to say?
It's just thinking of things that we never thought of.
Yes.
We're so traditional when it comes to buying a house. So all we know is, I want to buy a house, and do I have the money and can I afford it? No, go ask the people, hey, are you in a rush to sell? Some people's house, here's another one. Some people's house is on the MLS for a very long time. So you can ask the realtor, hey, are they in a rush to sell, or what's going on? If you see the houses on the market for 6 months, a year, you can say, I'm not ready to buy today, but instead of having them sit with this house on the market, it's unoccupied, I'd be willing to rent and pay their mortgage for them or give them money so that I can buy the house. And my lender told me it'll take a year for me to, get ready. Yeah. Can we work something out? What if they said yes?
Yeah. Lease to own right there.
Lease to own. Yes. Yeah. So that's a good resource.
You drop more than we can even ask for. So thank you. That's so good. And just, all right, y'all, we are moving into the second half of this session, and it's so good. It's already so good. Like, I know y'all locked in. All right. So now we're going to switch it over from our resources discussion on into life insurance. And what can you explain the different types, or can you explain the different types of insurance that are important for homeowners and individuals in general?
Absolutely. This is a conversation that really we need to have in the Black community. We're not even looking at life insurance for the house. We're looking at life insurance for the house of the family, for your generation. Life insurance is basically monetizing death. And I feel we monetize, not me, but I'm just going to say, so we could all just feel like we're one. We out here monetizing coochie. We're monetizing.
We're going to bleep that out.
That's what they do. I'm just telling you, that's what's going on.
That's true. That's true.
Don't bleep it out. Let them know.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we're monetizing it, right?
Yeah.
We're selling sex on social media. We're getting on Instagram and we're getting naked for views and likes to get money, right? I got to keep it real because this is what the Black community is doing.
Talk it. We
are shaking our butt on social media for clickbait, because this is how the girls are monetizing money. So when I say we monetizing coochie, that's a real epidemic going on in our community. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. That's the truth. And you know, I'm like Auntie Steph. I'm Auntie Steph to a lot of the Black girls out here. So I have to say what it really is, because we have to be so transparent and not be scared to be too vulgar, because our behaviors are vulgar. Our behaviors are vulgar. We're not presenting ourselves in the best light. So my thing is, if you're going to monetize all of that, we out here saying, oh, I'm not talking to this ninja if he ain't got it. That's what we're saying, right? That's the conversation in our community. Okay, so if you about the money, then let's really be about the money. Where is your life insurance? Why are you monetizing everything else, but you're not monetizing the death? It's not if you die, it's when you die. Right? So if every Black person in America had a life insurance policy, let's say of $250,000 per head. You don't think that's not going to bridge the wealth gap?
Mm-hmm. Ad break. Are you seeking an electrifying speaker to ignite transformation in your audience? Well, look no further. Hi, I'm Davone'a Tashae, real estate investor, Air Force veteran, and host of the Conscious Courage podcast, where new episodes are released every Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube and all streaming audio platforms. I specialize in delivering impactful keynote speeches that inspire change and elevate your minds. Whether it's a virtual gathering or an in-person event, I bring passion, expertise, and a unique delivery to every arena or every environment that I'm in. Let's captivate your audience together and create an unforgettable experience. Contact me today to book your next event, and let's embark on this journey of transformation, or let's get all of your attendees on this journey toward internal glow up. You can book me via my website by going to www.davoneatashae.com. I'll spell that for you. It is www.DAV as in Victor, ONEATASHAE.com. I look forward to connecting with you. Take care. Let me share this, y'all. So, and please take it away and dive in a little deeper, because I have dived into the life insurance piece. But what she's explaining is borrowing from that life insurance policy before you pass away. So being able to tap into that death policy before you leave. I do not like to profess death, but we all have a set time. So before said person passes away, they're able to pull or borrow from them, from that policy. And what'll happen is whatever they borrow, their family just won't receive it upon that person's death. But
I'm not even there yet.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I didn't jump ahead, y'all. Let me be quiet.
That's a whole life policy. I'm talking about the first kind of policy that everyone should have, which is just a term. You don't get any money while you're living. This only happens when you die. But it's the most affordable kind of insurance a person can have. And the younger you have it, as soon as a person turns 18, they should get it, because again, we're all going to die one day. It's not if, it's when. Imagine if at every death, $250,000 tax-free death benefit was given to that family. You see what I'm saying? You just took a household from, let's say, $30,000 a year. Now they have $250,000 tax-free, because life insurance money, the death benefit from a life insurance policy, is tax-free. Okay? So now we don't have to have a GoFundMe for the funeral. Now we don't have to have a fish fry for the funeral, because we monetize death. I want us as a people, as a culture, to monetize the right things. Okay? We have to, I know we're trying to be the first millionaire in our family, but I don't care about being the first millionaire in our family. I care about producing millionaires in my family. So I may not ever be the first millionaire in my family, but upon my death, Maya and Jonathan gonna be millionaires. You see what I'm saying? I'm okay with not being the first, but there will be millionaires in the Morales family. It will happen. And it happened with just a little life insurance policy that I got when I was younger. And I pay a small premium, which is the monthly payment, right? And now my children will be able to get that money. I'm military. So with military, you get up to $500,000 tax-free. No medical qualification. No medical qualification. And most of the employer-sponsored life insurances, there's no medical qualification. So I always tell people, you get what you get at your job. It's typically going to be 1 to 1.5 times your annual income of how much the employer will give you in life insurance, but you should have your own personal life insurance. And you start off with term. Now, the way you upgrade that life insurance is by going into what we call whole life insurance. And the whole life insurance, it has 2 parts two features to that asset. And just so you know, life insurance is an asset, and it does bring up your net worth. So, for example, if you made $50,000 a year and you have a $200,000 policy, you are now worth $250,000, and then they deduct your liabilities, and that's what's going to be your net worth. But life insurance instantly, like this, brings up your net worth. Just so we say, people didn't know that. So now when you have this whole life policy, right?
Talk your talk, just in case people ain't know that.
Because this is how you increase the net worth.
Yes.
And it's so important for us to understand, because nobody's having these real conversations. Everybody's kind of like, tiptoeing around it. But this is a real conversation. Yeah. It's a real conversation. And nobody told me that, if I want to increase my net worth, I can just purchase a life insurance policy and now I'm worth what the death benefit is. Plus what I came to the table with. So
that's good.
With your whole life insurance policy, you're going to have a death benefit, plus you're going to have a cash value accumulation. So some of the money goes into your death benefit to pay towards your premium for the death benefit, and some of the money goes into the cash value accumulation plan. And that's why the whole life policy is more expensive. It's more costly than a term, because with the term, you're only getting the death benefit. With the whole life, you have the death benefit, plus you have cash value. So what does that mean? That means if I have a death benefit of $250,000, I also have money that I can pull off of that $250,000 as the years keep going. And people don't understand. Your cash value can be growing $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000. Yes. And you can use it while you are living. You can use this money while you are living.
Yes.
Hello. So
another resources, like you were talking about.
Resource. You can use this money while you are living. So if you got to pay for a college, you have to pay for somebody's wedding, you wanted to buy a car, you needed to pay something, you can pull from the cash value instead of going to go do a credit check, a credit pull, bring your credit down, owe the bank money. No, you owe yourself money. And then people say, but don't we have to pay back the money because we took it from the... Yeah, you got to pay it back, but you pay it back when you die, because now they're going to give you the death benefit, and whatever you owed in the cash value, they will deduct it from the death benefit and give your family the remaining. And I really don't even plan for my family to take from my death benefit of my whole life, because I'm going to use that in my life. Y'all going to get what I left for you in the term. Okay? Because the whole life, by the time I have to pay back what I use, we're going to be at flat zero. We're going to be at flat zero, because I plan to use it all up. You can also use the money from your cash value of your whole life policy to pay you like an annuity when you retire. So you can set it up to say, every month, I want this amount of money coming from my cash value. And it'll just start coming off. And then you pay that to yourself in your elderly age. People don't know that either.
This not the blink. Like, did y'all get that? Like, are y'all hearing me? Like,
I don't know. Another thing when we're talking about insurances, because we don't talk about this in our community, long-term care insurance is important. What is long-term care? That means if you lose 2 or more of your 6 daily functionings, which is putting on clothes, feeding yourself, bathing, and brushing your teeth, those daily activities are called ADL, right? If activities for daily living, if you lose 2 or more of those functionalities, you qualify for long-term care for disability. So that means you're going to pay an insurance so that if you can't bathe yourself, if you can't clothe yourself, if you can't feed yourself, now you get a certain amount of money for a nurse to come to your house. Because how many of us have to take care of our parents? Let me just say really what it is. How many of us are our family's retirement plan? See, mommy and daddy, they say you're going to take care of them when they retire. When they're elderly, you're going to take care of them. But they didn't leave us the money to do so. Right? So now I have to take care of my family, husband, wife, children, plus my elderly family. My elderly family didn't leave me with money for that. If they had long-term care, I could have hired a nurse with the benefit that they would have got. And now I'm saving my own money as a young family, and I can still take care of my elderly family. Or if they have a disability, the elderly family, they qualify for a home loan. That's another resource.
Listen.
Be elderly or disabled, and now you qualify for a mortgage just for that. And now we can buy them a home with only 5% down. And I don't have to spend all my money, and I can buy my house for my elderly mom with only 5% down, because the bank is going to say it's their elderly people, whatever. And the money that they would have got or that they get in disability, we can now use that to pay the mortgage. And we can use their long-term care to have a nurse come over there, because I ain't your nurse.
So good.
I don't care if I went to medical school. I don't care if I'm a doctor. I'm not your nurse.
Yeah.
Because I have to take care of my kids. I have to take care of my husband. My husband needs to take care of his kids. The husband needs to take care of me. We can't be taking care of y'all for real. That's what wears us out. That causes resentment. That causes a breakdown emotionally, mentally, and physically in the Black household, or any household, when you have to do that and there's no money. So I'm going to use your long-term care benefits, and we're going to hire a nurse, and we're going to take care of you. In the house next door that I bought, in the elderly house.
No, she said she bought a whole house. I ain't gonna put them in the
No, we buying a house.
She got a whole house
for the elderly parents with their elderly mortgage program that they're allowed to get, where I only have to put down 5%.
Yeah.
Because remember, when you have a home already, if you go buy another home, it's considered an investment property if you're not living there, right? That's 20% down we have to put on this investment property, right? But if it's for my elderly parent, or a adult disabled child, I can use that mortgage. I can get the loan, and it's only going to be 5%, because it's not an investment. I'm taking care of a family member. It's not an investment. So they're not going to tax me. They're not going to charge me 20% down payment on that property. You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna have to run this back. I'm gonna
watch this. Mama, the house better be in my name when you die. So now I just put 5% on the house, because you're the elderly one, and now you died. You left that, and make sure you put it in the will. And I know we'll talk about that later, but now I just got another house. That's how you pass it down.
Listen.
And I'm going to make sure when I buy this house, I want to get a 55 and older, because one day I'm going to be 55 and older, and I'm going to put you in that house. Because that's another thing. You can buy your family, like your elder parents, a 55 and up condo or house. And because you're buying it for them, it will only be 5% down. It won't be like second house, 20%, same thing. And it'll be your name. They will be on it, because they're the ones who qualify for 55 and older. And then when they pass, should they pass before you, because that is how the chronological order goes. Your parents should pass before you do. If you pass before your parents, it was an accident that happened or some sickness that came upon you, but that's not the nature. That's not the circle of life. So everybody, if they can, these 55 older, 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms are like 100,000, 75,000, 120,000 for a 2 bedroom. That it's that amount, because we're on elderly retired pay. And now you have it circulating in the family.
So good. Disclaimer: as a content creator with a background in psychology and ongoing studies, it's imperative that I note and clarify that I am not a licensed professional. The videos and podcasts I produce are intended for educational, entertainment, and transformational purposes only. While I strive to provide accurate information and insights, it's essential to consult with a licensed mental health clinician or a licensed mental health professional for clinical perspectives and personalized advice tailored to your specific needs. Your mental well-being is of the utmost importance to me, and seeking guidance from a qualified provider is encouraged for any concerns or issues that you may be experiencing.